Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host, and I'm joined by the film encyclopedia man, Boaz Dix. We are a couple of filmmakers on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode we pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on VOD. Myself and Boaz pick our favourite film from that topic, or team up against a guest and battle it out to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 2. So our choice then for R-rated action films is Leon the Professional. Other picks that we had in mind were Mad Max 2, Point Break, and Kill Bill Volume 1. I think for both of us, our top choice was Leon. Usually I give Boaz a choice of films, and you went with Leon as well. Yeah, it's a great pick. So what happens in Leon the Professional? Boaz.
So Jean Reno, I think I pronounced his name right. Yeah, that's the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he plays Leon the Professional, a contract killer in Little Italy in New York, and he's been killing for the mob since he was like 19, and living in his apartment block next door to him is a family with a little girl, 12-year-old girl played by Natalie Portman. Her family is like, they're just terrible. They're terrible people, all except like her little brother, who is, an infant. And her father gets involved with these corrupt policemen, with the main police guy played by Gary Oldman, who is delightfully crazy. He steals some cocaine from them. And so they arrive the next day and just kill his entire family, with the exception of Matilda, played by Natalie Portman, who goes to Leon's house. He decides to take care of her through like so many like of her protests and pleading. He eventually teaches her his trade of being an assassin, so that she can basically be good enough to like kill the people that killed her family. Yeah, so I think that that's the main sort of story. Yeah, and it's kind of the relationship between them two. Leon's a pretty much a loner.
Tommy, initial reactions to this one then?
Yeah, so we watched the director's cut version. I think that's the version we all watched. My first time watching it, and
no, that's not the one I watched.
Oh,
really?
I think this is kind of hilarious because I didn't watch the extended version. I watched the theatrical, and I remember last time we watched oh Jesus,
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. I watched the extended version.
Yeah,
I'm always the fucking odd one out here.
Yeah.
And I remember that one. You were like, it was just like 10 minutes too long or something.
You were like, dude, you should have watched the original. And then I kept seeing reviews, and it's like, yeah, man, the original apparently is the bee's knees. Like they cut out some unnecessary scenes.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You might have lucked out this time because the extended version had some scenes that like were a little maybe too creepy, I think, with the John Reno and Natalie Portman scenes, which like in the theatrical cut from my memory didn't really have that icky factor to us, whereas this one like had some scenes where I was like, do we really need that?
Yeah, I think that's probably better because when I get under the script, their relationship, it straddles the line between being like just completely inappropriate.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, well, at least she has a thing for him and it's not reciprocated, so it straddles the line between that kind of weirdness.
Oh, exactly. Because there's some scenes. It was a little weird, but overall, I love this movie. I mean, like Gary Oldman giving an all-time like crazy performance, probably even more manic than Dennis Hopper we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But this is a fun movie to revisit. So yeah,
he would win in a crazier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, initial reactions to Leon?
I mean, this is like an incredible movie, and it's more of a relationship movie than I would maybe say action movie. Like it has action, but compared to Speed, like Speed to me that's like the definition of action. Like it's just nonstop banging your head on the table action.
Yeah.
Where this is like a real movie with a real script, real characters, like that get fully developed, that have like character arcs. That's not what Speed is at all, not even in the slightest.
And yeah, there's a lot of time that passes between just him and Matilda just, hanging out and their relationship developing and stuff. And you don't even see like Gary Oldman for quite some time. Like, that plot just kind of goes to the sideline.
Yeah, I really like this one as well. I think we're all in conjuncture with this, and yeah, some of the scenes are a tad creepy, but certainly for modern audiences now.
I don't think it was okay even back then.
Maybe to French people, but
Yeah. It's like Roger Ebert's review was so critical of this movie because of the fact it was a 12-year-old girl. Roger Ebert's like, I don't like that. So
Yeah.
This is directed by Luc Besson, and he was actually kind of prepping a lot for The Fifth Element, and he didn't get the right amount of money to make that at the time, so he kind of had to make something quick. So he made this instead. For me, this is vastly superior to The Fifth Element.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
agreed.
Yeah. So, directing then. I love the opening scene here, and I love the fact that you barely see Leon as he takes out all these goons. But what I loved more is that you had really no idea how Leon was going to kill these guys and where he's going to appear next. Like a guy is looking down a stairwell and you're expecting Leon to push him over, but no, the goon has to be stupid enough to wear a tie, and Leon just pulls him down from below out of nowhere. Like the other one I liked was when Leon opens a vent slightly and you can see his gun poking out, and you're like, oh, okay, he'll either jump out and shoot him or just shoot him from there, from the vent. No, why waste bullets when you can strangle the guy?
Yeah.
And like the last scene is great too, where you can see like Leon through like a bullet hole, and the bad guy shoots wildly, and like the light is beaming through all these bullet holes. It looked amazing, and I loved like the contrast of such like a panicked handheld camera on the bad guy, and as he's panicking, then a nice like steady push in from behind. Then Leon comes out of the darkness from nowhere again. So good, that opening for me.
And also, you got, the sound design is incredible. Like, the music that's going on, it's really tense and stuff. And the whole scene, it's more like he's a creature rather than an assassin. And the guy is panicking, and it's like you can hear the music, but you can hear, like, him hyperventilate with the music. And then when you say it does that calm push-in, when he's got the shadow behind him, and as soon as Leon's hand comes out of the shadow, knife to his neck, just everything stops, and I just love that silence where it's like the hyperventilating, the music, the heart rate, it just boom, it's all stopped. And then I like with the other end of the line, it's like police officer, and he's like, I'll call you back. It's just done so well that you really kind of feel it. You feel that like the panic, and then just accepting death, essentially.
Yeah. It's a great way to establish how much of a badass Jean Reno is, where it's just like, yeah, this guy's the ultimate contract killer right here. So we needed to see that him in action before Natalie Portman was introduced.
Yeah, because then you don't think he would at all have a gentle side, or, do you know what I mean, be good with kids. Like,
yeah.
he seems like a fucking animal. And then he's actually a lot sweeter than that.
He's sweet, but I still wouldn't really call him great with kids, if that makes sense.
No, he's not great with kids, yeah.
No.
Most well-thought-out adults wouldn't encourage a 12-year-old to become a hitman.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe not the best influence.
I mean, he uses paint bullets, so that's fine.
Yeah. Little training wheels for killing.
Oh, that was such a great sequence when they break into the house, when they break into the first house, and it's like, and he has the gun out, and she has the gun out, and like he's like holding him with the real one. She takes out the one with the paintball. It's like, okay, now do your second shot. And he's like, no, you want to go higher. You want to aim for the heart. You want to get that. You don't want to do that. And the guy's just like, what the fuck is going on? And he just shoots him.
The guy in the background is just like, what?
Aim for the heart and lungs.
Apparently, Leon is South African now, but
that's funny. My French sounds South African, and my South African sounds Indian. Every time I try to do that guy from Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah. Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, but you always go like, I have diplomatic immunity. Like that's fucking Scottish there.
That's their fat bastard impersonation right there. From Austin Powers.
I loved how like the murder scene develops after Gary Oldman has killed most of Matilda's family, and when he's done talking to her father, Luc Besson starts like two suspense moments at the same time, where the father is slowly reaching for his gun, and one of the goons is about to check the mattress because they're looking for drugs.
And his son is under the mattress. But
but we see Matilda's little brother under the mattress. Yeah, so you're doubly on edge, wondering what's going to happen with both situations. Then what's clever is that you hear the gunshot as soon as the goon stabs the mattress without even seeing the gunshot. So it's like both suspense scenes concluded right at the same time. Then total chaos. There's a great like video game POV shot with a machine gun guy. Yeah, it's great stuff from Luc Besson there for me.
Yeah, that was one of my other favorite sequences. Like in the first 15 minutes, this movie just hits so damn hard. Like goes right into the paint with its action, and then establishing Gary Oldman with one of his best performances of his career.
Oh yeah.
Easily, yeah.
I love how the other cops, when he like breaks through, they're more afraid of him and like containing him than they are about the family that he's going to butcher. Because he's just going through doors, opening door, bang, she shoots the wife, bang, shoots the daughter, and he's just wandering around completely like he's almost like surfing on a cloud. He's like just so elated.
Yeah.
Conducting.
And one of the guys almost shoots him, because he goes through. They're like, Jesus Christ, Gary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do a good job, especially in the end of the movie, of stacking the odds over and over and over again, where it's just like, there's so many cops coming in all at once after Gary Oldman screams, everyone! And then, like, they have all the rat shields over and over and over and over again, where it just gets to the point where it's just like, oh, Jean Reno is probably fucked here.
This is impossible.
Yeah, exactly. It just like makes the odds that much better from an action standpoint.
Yeah, and that last action scene was phenomenal. And also, what was it? Gary Oldman, where he's pissed off that the dude shot his clothes, and so as he's kind of limping and struggling, he's just emptying out every round into his back, and then just reloading to put extra guns into this guy's back.
Yeah, I think the last scene is really well constructed. Spectacle-wise, is not that impressive, but I feel like Luc Besson still brings a lot of visual flair here.
I think there's a lot of style to it.
Oh yeah,
and as I think it was kind of said, it's like it does ramp it up, like what he's going against, like pretty, So the setup for it is just kind of really amazing.
Yeah, because you have like these four guys like walk into his apartment, and then all you see is like Leon's hand close the door, and he kills them unseen behind the door. And from then on, the scale of the action goes up a gear, matching the emotional scale too in the writing. Matilda and Leon say how they feel about each other while the SWAT team is gearing up to fire the rocket thingy. Then boom. Then you have like a rise and fall of hope for like a happy ending. Matilda gets out free, and Leon disguises himself as a SWAT guy with a gas mask. And you're like, yeah, he's going to get out. And then they take his mask off for a brief moment, but obviously Stansfield sees him. Then you're like, oh no. Then it's beautifully done when Leon is about to leave the building and the sound starts to cut out, with the camera at Leon's point of view. But what's brilliant is that the camera just falls down on the ground without hearing another gunshot, like in that earlier action scene, which I thought was really a brave thing to do there.
I also thought it was cool that you see the muzzle flash, and even like as the camera's going down, like the saturation starts to go up, like just how everything is getting brighter. So it's like almost like he's stepping into the light. I thought it was a really like poetic and really kind of lovely way to sort of deliver his execution.
Then the ring trick.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. In some ways, in the non-action scenes, there's a lot of cinematography that feels just like 90s, just like very dreamy aesthetic kind of right there, where it's just, especially when like the Bjork song is playing during that one little montage of just like, this feels just so dreamlike and so like very lucid or whatever. It's just like, okay, like, but I do like the aesthetic of this movie overall.
I think throughout most of the film, and especially the end, there's just a great mix of style and heart in equal measure for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I love the style, But yeah, I do love how it can put that to, not like put it to the side, but then just like do it a little different for the more heartfelt scenes and the emotional scenes, and the scenes where they're just talking and stuff. And yeah, I think it does suit well. It does really, it's not jarring. I think it's it helps with the pacing. I was even saying like the introduction scene I quite liked, which it's like a tracking shot through Little Italy, where it's just going, but then it keeps cutting as well. So it's like boom down the street and then cuts, and then it's further in to so it's from New York to Little Italy, and it's going and boom cuts, and it's in the restaurant districts and the pizzerias and stuff, and goes through one of the doors and then cuts again, and then it's just zooms in on a pint of milk, and there he is with the pint of milk. I really like that. I thought that was a really cool way to just introduce Leon.
I thought it was pretty cool as well, the fact that you have like a lot of like extreme close-ups just on their eyes in that opening scene right at the start, just to get you in the mood for this film.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
With the glasses on too, like Leon looks so badass from just whatever limited view you get of him at that point.
Yeah, still very mysterious.
Favorite shot or scene, Tim?
The opening for me. I like. Yeah. A movie can really just hook you at the beginning, and just the way they establish Leon, just awesome. I just love the direction of it. I love the misdirect of the kills, as we were kind of just talking about before with it. I just think it's the ultimate way to introduce it. It also introduces that he can't read when he holds the note. He's like, dial this, because he can't read what the number is. He doesn't know how to read.
Tommy?
Yeah, a specific shot and like scene I really liked was when Natalie Portman finds her family pretty much dead, and then is knocking on the door of Leon over and over and over again, and that one guard is kind of noticing that something's a little bit up. And I do like, this is a very obvious not subtle at all shot, but the second that Leon opens up the door for her, it focuses on Natalie Portman. You just see a bright white light, like almost just like this is her savior. This is like heaven right there, right? So. Yeah, salvation right there. And it was a very good way to cinematically describe what's happening right here and show the character beats right there. And it was just so tense too, because you're thinking the whole time oh my God, is she about to die too? So we just saw a 4-year-old die. A 12-year-old is going to be on the table too.
It's such a pivotal moment in the film as well. It all hinges on that moment, whether is Leon going to open the door or not. And I quite like that scene in lots of different aspects, but certainly in the fact that you're never really quite sure of when that scene is going to end. You have all the, Gary Oldman kind of takes everyone out, and you have kind of the conversation with his father, and then, a bit of a chaotic action scene. And then they kind of look for Matilda, and then Matilda comes and walks, through the hallway. Some great slow-mo. You have that realization moment for her that her family is just dead. And then obviously the goon on the door is like, oh, hang on a sec. That girl has just gone into that apartment. He goes up to the door for a second, and Leon's got the gun at the door, adjusting his aim just in case. So you're never really quite sure when that scene is actually going to end, and we're going to move on in the story.
Yeah. And I like because when it ends is when she changes onto cartoons. And he is so fucking freaked out. I like when, because he's so calm and he's trying to get the kill. But when it cuts to Transformers going on, and then he flips round to point his gun at her, because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And so he's at his most tense when he was calm and he was going to kill this guy, and now he's at his most tense, and the guy's like, it's just kids watching cartoons, and so just brushes it off and walks away. And that was pretty cool.
Favorite shot or scene, Boaz?
I like the intro picking off all the bad guys, like you said, and I like the final fight. I think my favorite singular shot is probably the POV execution of Leon, and just how that came about. Where you've got him basically center in camera, sort of like a bit off. Do you know what I mean? The camera's sort of above him, and you can see Gary Oldman behind him. He thinks, I've done it. And, you can see shots of the exit. It's not far. And shots of Natalie Portman. She's approaching the exit. She's nearly there. And you're just like, yeah, man, he's he can't make it. He doesn't know, but he can't make it. And I do love the POV of how he got shot. It doesn't like show it or glorify it, but you see like what he would have seen.
I think it's just so brave of like with a film that's very action light, that in two pivotal scenes, like you don't even show the gunshots.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable and brave.
Yeah.
I think for me, my favorite shot is probably in that opening scene as well, but more specifically when like Leon comes out of like complete darkness.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And puts the knife around that fat guy's throat. It's great lighting there, really, because you do not see that coming at all.
Yeah, you don't see him at all. But yeah, I think that would probably be my second.
Yeah, it's almost something out of like a Batman movie, because you could easily see that being in whatever Batman movie that comes out next.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's definitely like Batman, because as soon as like he removes the knife and goes into the shadow, he turns around and there's no one there.
Yes, Matt Reeves, take note.
It's our Luke Benson superhero movie.
Haven't seen it. What is your score for directing of Leon?
Timmy, I'm thinking like 8.8 or something. What are you feeling that?
You can go with an 8.8. I'm very comfortable with an 8.8.
Yeah, 8.8. There's so many good shots.
We got to try to give our pick as much help as it can.
You can go for, if you really want to win, you can go for like a 3 if you don't actually care about being honest.
Yeah. Just rig it. We have to play fair. Yeah. We have to play fair.
Yeah.
I already know that Speed's not winning, and that's fine.
What should we go with for directing then?
I would go like a 9, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 9.1 maybe. I do love the flair here and the bravery and confidence.
I do really love the flair. I think there are so many shots that I haven't even discussed. I think there's so much that's done.
Even the bit where, like, just before the explosion goes off and you have this really extreme close-up on Jean Reno as he, like, screams out like, "Rah!" and it's just his eyes.
Yeah, that was cool, yeah. Yeah. That was really cool. That was a surreal, like, Hulk rage. Yeah. And then the explosion. I loved that. That was great.
9.1 then.
Yeah.
So screenplay then. This is clearly a fairly low budget film, and there isn't much action in this film really. Only one at the beginning and at the end, as we've kind of talked about in directing. And a lot of the story in the middle is like a revenge drama kind of thing, a two-hander. Yet people still kind of call this an action film, I would say, generally. But because the characters are so rich and the story is so compelling, it just makes the fairly small action scenes seem that more exciting and emotional to watch. So I feel like these types of action films are really lacking these days. Films are just not willing to only have 2 action scenes for your action film. Yet this one is awesome. And I would still consider it an action movie, personally.
Yeah. And I would even go a little further to say that in genre, like most of the middle film isn't just like a revenge or drama or whatever. And this is going to sound weird because of her age, but it kind of is. It's a love story. Yeah. She is falling in love with Leon,
It's a character dynamic of just...
It is. It's basically the story of a little girl's first love, but that first love happens to be a trained fucking murderer,
I mean, thankfully, for the most part, it doesn't get too icky, but I mean, apparently the basis of this was that Luc Besson's wife at the time was... this film was inspired by a relationship where they met when she was 12 and he was like in his like late 20s.
That's a bit weird.
And they started dating when she was 15 and he was like 32. And I was like, oh, yikes, that's a little out there. Right? You can see a little bit where it comes from. It's like, come on, Besson. Really?
That's pretty fucking weird.
That's some Jerry Seinfeld shit right there.
Yes. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. To say the least. But I mean, but like you said, the middle of this act is just essentially just a character drama, a character focus on just 2 characters becoming, for Jean Reno, it's more of a father-daughter relationship, and for her, it's unrequited crush or something.
I mean, do we think this type of cinema is kind of lacking these days? Is there not enough heart and character stuff in action films? Tim, you're nodding your head.
I would say it's more than just action films. I'd say it's a lot of films that lack in this. Like, I really loved Everything Everywhere All at Once because they actually focused on the characters and they gave
that was great.
Them a lot of personification versus a lot of the stuff that comes out. It all feels like been there, done that. It's like they took the same script, changed some of the elements, some of the order of the scenes, and just ushered it out and said, gave it $150 million and said, you better make $1 billion or else.
Yeah. I feel like if this movie was made today,
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
if this movie was made today, it would, first of all, probably be a Netflix original, yeah. But also, like, the whole second act would have been just like cut completely, and just like, how can we find more action scenes of Leon? Just make it more actiony. Come on, we don't need the character moments. That's weird.
Yeah. I think, this sometimes is like the benefit of having a shoestring budget, because you like have to lean into the characters more, and you have to lean into style more, and you have to lean into, heart and stuff like that.
Creativity through adversity.
Exactly. And I think this film does it phenomenally, like great performances, great characters, but, an amazing, emotional sort of center through most of the film. And absolutely. I think if they had ballooned this project's money, and had it with 5 or 6 action scenes, it just wouldn't be as good.
We didn't need the like car chase of like them trying to interact in a car chase and like him like quipping at like Matilda being like, "You don't know how to drive? You're only 12 years old or something." Yeah, it'd be bad.
I'm saying okay.
Yeah,
I love bits in the script, like even earlier on when they sort of connect, and she's been like beaten by her father and she's bleeding, and he gives her like a handkerchief, and she's like, "Does it get easier, or is it just this bad when you're a kid?" And he's like,
It's always this bad.
It's always like this. This is what life is. Yeah.
Let's try and like dive into the creepiness and love story a bit. Stay with me, people.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to mention it. It is a big part of the film.
Yeah.
This is Jeffrey Epstein's favorite movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
The love story, but the love between Matilda and Leon, can be seen as creepy and weird, but I mean, there could be an argument to say it's not that bad. Because you have like two characters who don't really know what real love is in the beginning. Like Matilda loves her little brother, but that's about it. Her family fucking hated her. With Leon, he loves his plant. Yeah. That's about it. So at this point in the film,
she doesn't even go to school as well. I like that scene where she's meant to be at school, and then the school administrator calls, and she's like, "Oh, she's dead" or whatever. So she's got no friends, nobody.
So when Leon becomes the only real person in her life, she develops a love for him, but Leon thinks it's because she's just a kid and he doesn't, believe her. Then when Matilda wants Leon to kill Stansfield for revenge for her brother, he says, "Nothing's the same after you've killed someone. Your life is changed forever. You have to sleep with one eye open for the rest of your life." And then Matilda says, "I don't give a shit about sleeping, Leon. I want love or death." And then she decides to play roulette, the Russian version. Leon saves her life, but only because he doesn't want a child to blow her brains out right in front of him. So I think Matilda is still in this like desperation mode, I think. And I think at this stage, it's just a love at a survival level for Matilda, a cry for help.
Well, it's a protector, and she doesn't realize that the relationship is paternal. She sees it as romantic, because it's probably all she kind of knows of what love can be, because she didn't have any paternal love in her life. So, and for Leon, who's just a little more slow-witted and just kind of robotic, honestly. Like, it's another thing I just liked in the direction was the way they established his character and his routine, and like, you're getting like, this guy's a machine. This guy's not really like a human. Like, he hasn't had to do any real human, like be a human and interact with human beings in any way outside of seeing them as like life or death.
Just clean his guns, do the hits, on to the next job. Clean and feed his plant. Yeah. That's his routine,
That's his routine. Does his crunches, drinks his milk. That's his routine. And there's the line in where Matilda goes, "Leon, I think I'm kind of falling in love with you." Leon chokes on the milk, and he goes, "It's the first time for me, How do you know it's love if you've never been in love before?" "Because I feel it." "Where?" "In my stomach. It's all warm. I always had a knot there, and now it's gone." "Matilda, I'm glad you don't have a stomach ache anymore. I don't think it means anything."
I think Leon is kind of constantly, quite rightly, putting her off and not really putting her in her place, but just like,
Yeah.
no, can we talk about something else, kind of thing.
Yeah. Change the subject quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, Leon, like, saving her life is not really enough in that moment when in the Russian roulette thing. Matilda continues to try and pursue a relationship with Leon, and like she's an adult. Leon, of course, keeps saying no. And what's interesting as well is that later on, Leon decides to do a hit by himself and says, I just need some time alone. You need some time to grow up a little. And then Matilda says, I finished growing up, Leon. I just get older. Then Leon says, for me, it's just the opposite. I'm old enough. I need time to grow up. And it's like he's saying he's never had a childhood, but you can have one right now. Be a kid, Matilda. You know, he just needs some time to process what their relationship is and whether, you know, and whether to let Matilda stay with him. And when Matilda tries to come on to him again in that purple dress in the, I think probably the extended cut scene, he talks about like his previous lover was shot in the head, and it's like this release valve for Leon that he really needs to talk about his past to Matilda now, you know, that he can only be friends with her. Then the scene ends with kind of humor, I would say, when Matilda puts his arm around her in bed. I found that quite funny. So it's a very complex relationship between those two. Yes, there is some creepiness in there at times. I think the whole dress up thing was like, oh god.
Yeah.
A movie that makes you think and question your own ethics and morals. Wow, what a concept!
Thanks, Lupa-san.
Which dress up bit are you talking about?
The Marilyn Monroe probably part.
Is that the one you're talking about? Like this?
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. Like, you know, where she's trying to like let him have some fun, like for once in his fucking life.
Yeah,
and, like doing a guess game with the clothes and stuff. I thought that was funny. Like he got a little upset because she didn't get that he was John Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do see it like she is genuinely in love with him. And I think it's kind of sad because I think this is just generally him letting her into his house and saving her life is like the only good thing somebody has done for her ever, you know, and she's young and like everybody's treated her like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she's imprint, you know, she kind of idolizes him.
Imprinting on his life, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like reading, I think, way too much into it. Whereas he doesn't even really know why he saved her. I guess, you know, they have some things in common. Maybe they're both picked up. They're both like, you know, they have a hard life or whatever. I don't exactly know. I don't even think he knows. He was going to like fucking shoot her at one point.
Both kind of outcasts.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that they're outcasts. And I think he really wants a friend, really. He doesn't want to like admit to it or whatever.
And I think Leon is just struggling because obviously he doesn't want a relationship with her like that, obviously. But but he still wants to like love her, but just
as a friend or something. Or
in a platonic way, I guess. Yeah.
In a parental way, like I'm protecting and taking care and raising this child now. Like this is my responsibility.
Yeah, and even just kind of just basically connecting on just a normal human level because he just doesn't really have that at all. Neither of them do. Well, Matilda had it a little bit with his brother, but you don't really see that. So that both these characters are very like lost and broken people that don't really know what love is at all. So it's an interesting exploration of how that kind of thing develops in an action film, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, you can, you know, see that it is a tad creepy at times, but I think if you really think about it, and it's really interesting, I find.
They towed the line a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely toe the line a little bit, but they could do that in the 90s. You couldn't do that anymore.
You just got to put your head into a more of a French mindset, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Well, one scene that always gets me into a sort of, I think it's like the cringiest sort of like, what the fuck, is where she's talking to the guy at the hotel that, you know, to let them stay there. And then she's like, he's not my father, we're lovers. And you're like, the look on his face would be like the look on my face. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then when he gets back, Sir, I need to talk with you.
And next hotel.
Yeah,
We don't condone that here.
yeah. He's fucking lucky he wasn't in a jail cell. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, there's one scene. I think this is director's cut where she asks him like, "Oh, Leon, can I kiss you?" And like tries to kiss him in a public place. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't theatrical.
At the restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that wasn't a theatrical cut. Basim.
Yeah, no, I did see that bit.
Oh, it was okay.
So now I'm not even sure what fucking. Yeah. Yeah, no, she doesn't kiss him, but then she does like drink a shitload of alcohol and then laughs.
Yeah, that was the one scene where it was a bit weird. And the laughing thing,
Yeah.
and obviously the kissing thing, that definitely is going very close to the line for sure. But the laughing thing was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I say that it toes the line for me, and it's not like completely inappropriate, is the fact that it's her coming onto him.
Yeah.
So like she's confused.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, when I was younger, I liked, you know, obviously older women and stuff. So, you know, I could sort of get that. I wouldn't be so forward, but I could sort of get that, even though it's weird. And I'm glad they never tried to. He was like interested or whatever. So.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
I don't think they were ever going to go down that road.
This movie doesn't get made if they try to go that route.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they would have gone down that road. But if they had gone down that road, then it goes beyond towing the line to like this is a pedophile fantasy movie.
Yeah, a movie we wouldn't watch or cover on.
Yeah.
I think the only reason it's problematic is that it kind of is, even without Leon pursuing it. Right? Like, if you're a pedophile, you still want a 12-year-old to be in love with you, right? Like, I guess that's what they would want.
Yeah, but I guess if they're in love with you, you'd be, you know, you'd pull your pants down or whatever. You'd be like into it. He's not into it, so.
Listen, it's representation in media, and it's very limited for them. So they got to take what they can get.
Yeah. Yeah, poor pedophiles. They don't get movies for them.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
No. Put them under the prison.
Yeah.
No, definitely not poor. I know you were joking, but definitely not poor pedophile.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to say that haven't seen it is an anti-pedophile. We are anti-pedophiles. We're against pedophiles. I just want that on the record.
We are anti-pedophile. Exactly.
Against them. Yeah.
You have to be at least over 45
My God.
to ride this train. You know?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Bose.
Yeah.
I ain't taking no fucking chances.
Bose, you dog you.
Loads of poorly chosen words there. Right. Moving on.
So I was going to say, like, I love how the bad guy, Gary Oldman's character, is written. He is fucking deranged. Like, I love him as a character, but I do stretch my believability that he would ever be allowed in the police force, you know?
Yeah.
This guy is a fucking lunatic, you know?
This guy's corrupt from the beginning he walks in, where it's just like, how could someone not realize, like, this guy's a bad cop?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
He hasn't got time for this Mickey Mouse bullshit.
You know, he's like twitching, he's got wide eyes, he's fucking crazy, you know?
It's a vibe. It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Total vibe.
So, favorite lines and people? What we got?
I'm going to go Stansfield, Gary Oldman, when he says, I like these quiet little moments before the storm. Reminds me of Beethoven. Very good, like, meta moment, too, because that's right before the chaos happens.
Yeah.
So, it just shows how manic Gary Oldman is.
Yeah. And I love the line quickly after that, where he says, I love Mozart.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Stan, what are you doing? He's dead. He ruined my suit.
Yeah.
How old were you when you made your first hit? 19. Beat you.
Yeah, that was
Of course, the best one is Stanfield saying, bring in everyone.
Yes. Everyone!
Yeah. Great performance, great delivery right there. Best part of the movie.
Iconic meme.
It is an amazing meme, yeah. It's like I've seen that so many times and with good reason. It's an incredible outburst.
Yeah.
Good one from Leon when he says, hey, don't talk like that about pigs. They're usually much nicer than people.
Yeah.
My favorite line actually isn't kind of like a Gary Oldman outburst. It's not really a funny one, but it's kind of a very intimidating Gary Oldman line where he's talking to Matilda in the government building, and he says, "I take no pleasure in taking life if it's from a person who doesn't care about it." Holy crap, that is evil.
Yeah,
That is a terrifying thing to say.
Favorite line, Tommy?
definitely everyone. Send in everyone.
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 Yes, just trying to think about mic volume there.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim?
I want to say it's probably the everyone. I mean, it's just like, because I'd never seen the movie before, and it just jolt, like hearing the delivery in context is
It's iconic.
something else, because it's something that you've seen a million times, but never in context for me. So
Screenplay score, haven't seen it. What are you going for Leon, the Professional?
Tim, you thinking like a 8.5?
I was gonna say 8.6. So could we do 8.55?
8.55. You're taking the piss now, man.
I'm kidding. Just do it. Just do 8.5. Just do 8.5.
Get the hell off my show. You know, we had this one rule.
I just wanted to make it a pain for Martin. That's all.
8.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Barnes, what are we going for? I am willing to go a high 8, or if not, a 9.
Yeah, I mean, the script is really fucking good.
To be fair, I did nearly tear up when the ring trick happened at the end. To be fair, it was a very sad moment.
I think it's such an emotional moment
Yeah.
when he died. And it's so crazy as well because it's emotional. It's sad he died. But then it's somewhat triumphant because he fucking takes down that guy. So it's like this mixture of emotions.
And it's beautifully poetic as well, with when Matilda like plants his plant in her new like orphanage, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. 8.9.
Yeah, sure.
So the Gary Oldman acting section,
Yeah. The majority of the discussion on the acting.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I love the introduction to Gary Oldman's character Stansfield, where it starts off with like a close up on the back of his head, listening to music. Then when he turns around to the drug holder guy, Matilda's father, Michael Badalucco, Gary Oldman acts like he's the calmest dog in the world, like smelling him loads, and then he's stroking him like he's his favorite child.
Yeah. And then like basically embraces him. It's like,
It's
you know.
intimidating as hell.
And you're like, Jesus, this is so weird. Yeah.
It's three great character introductions back to back. You get Leon, then you get Matilda, then you get Stensfeld. However you pronounce it.
Stansfield.
Yeah.
Stansfield.
Stansfield.
And, like all back to back in all succession. And obviously the Matilda one is more to set up like her circumstance in life more than anything else, because it's a 12-year-old girl. You kind of understand her motivations a little more as a person than you would, a hitman or a corrupt DEA agent.
Yeah, it's like Leon shows you the cool factor, and then Matilda is like the emotion, the heart.
And the grounding. It grounds you into like, this is a dark world. This is a dark world.
Yeah, and Stansfield is just a fucking lunatic. He's very scary. A very scary madman.
Going off the scales.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's incredible when he's about to kill Matilda's family. Like he opens up a little like drug case, like takes one and leans his head back, and it looks like it's a combination of him having an accident and getting the highest high. It's amazing to watch. And then I love the way he's getting more excited while he's shooting his family shooting Matilda's family while at the same time conducting the music in his head. It's quite terrifying.
Yeah.
And then I love that funny moment when like the camera's on his crew in the hallway looking very jumpy. Then Gary Oldman walks past, then they all jump up scared. So funny. And then I kind of love that last moment as well from Gary Oldman when they're about to leave, and from behind the bead curtain, he tilts his head forward like Hannibal Lecter and says, "Tell them we were doing our job." Terrifying.
Yeah, immediately. It's another thing this movie that toes the line is his performance. It's like almost, if there's 1 degree more, it would have been too over the top and campy and cartoonish. But yeah, I think it's just right at the point where it is campy and a little bit cartoonish, but in a way that's terrifying and completely maniacal.
It's definitely campy.
Yeah.
Is
but it works. It works for the movie.
Exactly. It really does feel like, as scary as he is, that he's trying to hold back some of that insanity. And I think that makes it scarier, because you're like, it's like, dude, you're creepy, but it feels like you're trying to hold in some of your creepiness. So, like, you're even creepier. Do you know what I mean?
It feels like if you weren't a DEA agent, like, and you were just like running a drug cartel.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, man. Yeah, Jesus, yeah. I think he would be, like, fucking flaying people alive, just wearing coats of skin.
Yeah. Just totally out there.
You know, he would be a savage. And I do love when he takes the drugs, and that, you know, how the camera does that thing where he's kind of, like, contorting. You know, it's like he's trying to release himself out of his own body, you know?
I mean, you can just, it's all based in the eyes as well. Like, it looks like he's on drugs, like, the entire way through the film.
Yeah.
Just by just looking at his eyes, you know?
Yeah.
The best kind of DEA agent. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, exactly. To be in the DEA, you must know drugs, you know? You must live them, take them.
Be the drug.
Be the drugs, yeah.
Tim, you said it was quite a campy performance. I mean, do you think he goes too far with this? Or
No, I think the movie needs it. Like, you're dealing with really, like, emotional, like, complicated dynamic relationship between Leon and Matilda. Like, throughout the thing, you need some kind of light, some kind of energy from the adversary in this. I think it works well. I think it, like, balances the tone really well too in the movie. Like, we wouldn't, if they didn't manage the tone of it, like, the movie would have fallen apart, in my opinion. Like you really need, it's just that menace, and as Boaz was saying, where it's like, feels like he's just holding back too in the performance, and like, that makes it scarier.
I do think that just makes him scarier. You know, it's like, but yeah, I think his performance is funny. It's creepy. It's scary. You know, it's intimidating. Like, he's just like a mixture of, you know, of vibes, and I love his scenes. You know,
good vibes, man. That's all he is.
He's the best part of the movie, I'd say.
And he's not in it as much as many of the other characters, but I just think, you know, his presence is just
limited screen time. It makes a villain more effective, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Tommy, is there any other, like, Gary Oldman moments that you like?
I mean, just in general, like we've been saying so much, just him taking the drugs and snap his neck is just crazy. And just the one scene he has with Matilda one-on-one in that little urinal, it's just like so intimidating, so sleazy, so cartoonish at the same time. It's just like so many things at once. It's like the fact that he can be campy and scary at the same time is just a great, like, you know, through line.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, she's terrified, and he's so out there, and then like trying to calm down, and then touching her, and then it's like fucking weird. It's like, it just feels all kinds of wrong. Feels like he could kill her. Feels like maybe he's getting turned on by killing her. It feels like he's really high again. He just always seems high, like really angry, and kind of like, oh, he's just got to do this. And it's just this, you know, it's just so weird. You know, you can't really get a handle on him. Yeah, that was such an uncomfortable scene. You know.
Carry on, Tommy.
Yeah. It's I was gonna say, it's kind of disappointing that in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies that Gary Oldman had to play a much more straight-laced role than, like, you know, he could have made a great, just
true,
insane villain right there. Yeah, instead of just playing Christopher Gordon, which was,
I think he could have. Yeah,
he could have done it.
I love him as Gordon, though.
Oh
yeah, he is a great Gordon. Yeah,
he is a good Gordon, though. That being said,
but yeah, I'd love to see him do more crazy villains as well.
Shows his range, Tommy.
True. Yeah.
I found the dress up game sequence quite interesting that Matilda and Leon play. Like, Jean Reno looks quite awkward and embarrassed, not knowing the people she's interpreting. But I thought, like, his John Wayne was quite good, actually. You know, he had the stance and the walk. But
he said Pilgrim.
Yeah, that's the one thing you need.
Just should have had a hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was quite funny scene that makes, you know, you like and care more for them. So favorite performances? Are we all going Gary Oldman? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd go Gary Oldman.
I think so. Yeah. Unanimous.
And, you know, and also, like, kudos to Natalie Portman. I think she, for such a young age, was doing a really great job.
Yeah, for this being her first movie.
Yeah, it's probably one of her better performances. I mean, you had this.
Yeah. I mean, she was really good.
Then it led to Heat, and then it led to her iconic performance in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, exactly. That's the peak of her career.
I can't move
Yeah.
under this costume. What do you want me to do, George?
Faster and more intense, okay?
Yeah.
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 Can I take the hat off, please? It's far too heavy.
Just something.
The global trade systems of our galaxy are far too complicated for the people of Naboo.
I think you're doing a better job than she did in that role.
Let's not say much.
I don't have George Lucas directing me right now, so
Yeah, I think the problem there was George.
you have to add that caveat in there.
Yeah.
I mean, who comes second for you then after Gary Oldman?
Natalie Portman for me personally. I mean, like she's like the emotional connection
Yeah, I
of this
think so.
movie that we need, and she is essentially the lead, I guess, even though it's called Leon. So she just makes you care throughout this little kid, because little kid performances could easily be grating, and she's not grating whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I complain a lot about child acting on this podcast, but she's definitely pretty amazing in this film.
Yeah, I think
So-
she's really up there. And yeah, you know, again, so much of the plot centers around her. And, you know, if they didn't get, you know, a great young actress to do it, I mean, Jesus, you know, that's half of the film that's like, do you know what I mean, unbearable to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought she's really tremendous.
Yeah, I think with Jean Reno, like, yes, he's got to be kind of the softest and the quietest performance out of the three of them. But I think if he is going to try and get to the acting levels of, you know, Natalie Portman and Gary Oldman, as you said, Tim, like, I think like the film would fall apart really and be way too crazy. But I think just that look he has, that silhouette, is just oozes cool with the glasses, the hat, and like the big coat.
I would put John Reno over Natalie Portman in my opinion.
Okay.
Like it's such a subdued performance, but it can be
Really?
yeah because it goes from being very like spends a lot of the movie being, you know, like kind of fish out of water, raising a girl now, but he can turn that intimidation factor on with the snap of his fingers and become the professional like that. And it's very difficult to do. And he also, you know, we said there's a lot of creepy aspects, but you never feel like he's preying on her or trying to take advantage of her, which does come out in the performance. And there was a quote that was like, you know, John Reno said that he played the character more slow and kind of dim-witted, so that the audience would feel more comfortable with that, to make it feel like this character will never try to take advantage of Natalie Portman or Matilda.
Yeah, which we need.
We definitely need it.
Yeah.
Guy's a hitman, not exactly the most ethical of professions.
Professions, yeah.
Although he does have his code.
But I think you're right, because, he does play him like in two different ways, but still very subtly, and can switch between them of like, you know, he's a complete consummate badass, you know, silent killer, to he doesn't really understand everything. And, you know, a lot of this stuff kind of is quite confusing to him. And there is a kind of innocence to him, you know, about a lot of these crazy things, especially, you know, Natalie Portman's feelings towards him is just very innocent, very naive, very confused. So I think he does a good performance, but it is different from the other two. It is more, you know, more quiet and less flashy.
Acting score, haven't seen it. What are you going for Leon, the professional?
Yeah.
Like an 8.7, Tim? Yeah.
That's what I just said. Yeah, 8.7.
Is that exactly what you said at the same time?
Thanks for listening. I appreciate it, Tom.
Yeah, 8.7. All right, yeah, we're going with that.
8.7.
Yeah, we have great chemistry because we said it at the same time.
Tommy just doesn't listen to me, but that's okay.
Just because Gary Oldman is so awesome in this, like a 9.1 or like a straight 9. I'm thinking 9s because there's nothing like that really.
Well, he gets a 10 alone.
Yeah.
Gary gets a 10. Yeah.
This movie doesn't have Keanu, though. You have to weigh your pros and cons. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think
What,
so.
straight 9?
Yeah, maybe a 9. Straight 9.
Keanu the professional.
Yeah.
The sequel.
He was apparently interested in this movie, actually. I did read that in the trivia. He didn't want to play, what's his name, John Reno's character.
I think each character got cast in the right role for either movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It worked out for the best.
their 1994 action movie. I think both actors got the right roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's add up the scores then for Leon, the professional. Leon gets 53 points. Exactly. So Leon wins this one as we predicted over Speed that just got 49.3.
It was close.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's 4 points out.
It was close. It was closer than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But still, I'm always rooting for Mega Keanu.
Just don't watch Devil Advocate.
That's fine.
Next episode.
Fuck you.
Oh god, that's such a terrible film.
No, it's not.
Next episode, we are focusing our attention to one of our legend episodes, and we are talking John Carpenter films, and we'll hopefully have guests again. Another returning guest from the Comfort Films podcast, John and Georgia. So that'll be a lot of fun. Please tune in for that one. Tommy and Tim, this is your chance to talk about your podcast again, and where can we find you?
All right. Yeah, so you can find us on social media. Pretty much, look up Haven't Seen It. You can find us on social media at Seen It Pod. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We've been doing a lot of good movies this month. We're going to be covering Beetlejuice we just did, and we're going to be doing Rocky soon.
Oh, nice.
Movie I've somehow never seen.
Wait, you've never watched Rocky?
He's not a true American, Boaz. It's okay.
I've never seen Rocky. Yeah. I've seen Rocky Balboa. That's the only Rocky movie I've seen. Like the worst one, probably.
Are you secretly Canadian, Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I think before this podcast, I'd only watched like Rocky 5.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Like the worst one. But...
Yeah. Yeah, I watched like the worst one. And since this podcast, I've kind of watched like basically most of them now. I think I'm just still missing 3 and 4.
Well, 4 I heard is the best.
4 is not the best, but 4 is the best worst one, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
It's the campiest, I guess. Yeah.
it's easily the camp. Like there are people who absolutely adore Rocky 4. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. The Rocky one is still the best one, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've covered Rocky and Rocky 2 with Gary Hewitt from the Choose Film podcast. We did Rocky 2 last week, actually, last episode.
Nice.
Yeah. And we've done Creed 1.
Yes, we have, yeah. Michael B. Jordan films.
I haven't watched any of the Creeds yet.
Yeah, still need to watch the Creeds too. So,
Yeah, well, the Creed 1 is very good. I would recommend it.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Guys, it's time to say goodbye. Tommy and Tim, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on again. We very much appreciate it. It's time to say goodbye. Bye-bye.
bye.
Kicking us off, I guess. See you later.
Get out of here, you kids.
It was fun, guys. It was fun. We'll have you back on sometime soon. We'll figure it out.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And it's goodbye from our local hitman. I guess it's time for you to get some more milk. Bower sticks. Bye-bye.
See you, man.
Bye. That's it for part 2. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 1 if you haven't done so already. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell us what your favourite films are relating to the episodes. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast, for Twitter at FVF_podcast. If you do, we'll give you a shout out on the next episode. If you're feeling really generous, you can buy us a one-off coffee at our Buy Me a Coffee account. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off.